This was once a peaceful town on Ecuador's Pacific coast. Now Guayaquil is the epicenter of a wave of drug violence, and the bloodshed is bringing the country to its knees. This area is controlled by one of Ecuador's biggest gangs, called Los Choneros. They wanted to use the barber shop to sell cocaine. The owner said no, so the gangs came for him. The owner was injured, but survived. His client did not. José Adolfo Macías Villamar, known as Fito, is the leader of Los Choneros. In prison since 2011, authorities plan to move Fito to a high-security facility in early January, but he managed to escape just days before. His men then launched a series of attacks across the country. They set off car bombs, then kidnapped and killed prison guards. Armed men also stormed a TV channel live on air. Now the government is fighting back. The president has vowed a crackdown against the cartels. So we joined authorities as they stormed houses across the city. No one can escape the violence now. This man said he had nothing to do with the drug gangs, but soon he had a lot to explain.
After storming the house, the police found an automatic rifle, a mini Uzi, and a 9mm.
The government has declared a state of internal war, bringing the army to the streets and into people's homes. In the current climate, they show little mercy. There isn't much evidence, but that's good enough.
No, sea malo, no me le hagan ese daño, mi hijo no está en nada malo.
Ecuador was one of the region's most peaceful countries. Today, it's a narco-state, rife with corruption and violence. So the government turned to its army to stop the carnage. But Latin America has a dark history of repressive military governments.
We were told to leave the corner by the military, and now we can hear that they are beating up the two guys that were lying on the floor. That's the cost of bringing out the military out in the streets in Latin America.
The next morning, the police tried to prove they were on top. But their show for the media only highlights a bigger problem. Ecuador has become a major transit route for narcotics to the US and Europe. The government soon lost control after the powerful Mexican cartels moved in. And the bitter turf war for this lucrative trade has led to a boom in violence. It's a war authorities say they can win, but at what cost? I asked the government how they were planning to combat such extreme levels of violence.
Lo que pretende y el objetivo de ese decreto es que también ofrezcamos a los agentes del orden los instrumentos para que puedan defender a los ciudadanos inocentes que están siendo amenazados.
But the crackdown has already claimed innocent lives. Sonia's son, Miguel, was partially disabled and washed cars for a living.
Los dos solitos siempre hemos sido los dos, ahí los dos.
Miguel was killed in a battle between the army and Los Choneros. He was caught in the crossfire. Despite her own agony, Sonia supports the government's efforts.
Está bien que ponga mano duro la policía, la FAE, el ejército. Está bien que ponga el mano dura.
She visits her son's grave every day, but can't afford to have his name inscribed on his tomb.
Me duele mucho en el alma que te hayas ido, hijo mío.
Miguel has become another number in this war. Ecuador's government faces an impossible challenge. It must keep people safe, but also uphold the rule of law. History tells us that in Latin America, when violence is met with violence, things only get worse.